Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sita Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Sri Rup Sri Sanatan Bhatta Raghuna Sri Rup Sri Sanatan Bhatta Raghuna Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghuna Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghuna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Nitya Gaura Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal. Nitya Gaura Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Premanande. Dam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivaraja Kacharya. Hasto Tarasata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Habai. Charanara Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivaraja Kacharya. Hasto Tarasata Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki. Shishi Gauranitai Ki. Sisi Radha Govardhana Dari Ki. Sisi Krishna Balaram Shigiri Raja Govardhana Ki. Govardhan Dharma Ki. Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Lotus feet. Agni Nivapanam Shre Karivachandrika Anandam Tichanam Punamitas Mananam Savatmasnapanam Paramijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Namam Kare Bahuda
Thinking oneself low in the street. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Valabha Girivara Dhali Gopi Jana Valabha Girivara Dhari Soranandana Bhajanjana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhajanjana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Valabha Girivara Dhari Soranandana Brajanjana Ranjana Jasodanandana Bhajanjana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gyantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jai Gaura Premanandi Hari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, Status Quo, chapter 14. Chapter 14, Pregnancy of Deity in the Evening. It helps. The other one was there before. Whichever. That's good. Text 22. Please repeat. Atapi kamam etam te. Atapi kaman etam te. Prajatyai karavanyalam. Prajatyai karavanyalam. Yatamam natirochanti. Yatamam natirochanti. Muhurtam pratipalaya. Muhurtam pratipalaya. Atapi kaman etam te. Prajatyai karavanyalam. Yatamam natirochanti. Muhurtam pratipalaya. Devotees. No takers? Atapi kamam etante. Word by word. Ata api. Even though it is not possible. Kamam. This sex desire. Etam. As it is. Te. Your. Prajatyai. For the sake of children. Karavani. Let me do. Alam. Without delay. Jata. As. Mam. Unto me. Na. May not. Atirochanti. Reproach. Muhurtam. A few seconds. Pratipalaya. Wait for. Translation. Even though it is not possible to repay you, I shall satisfy your sex desire immediately for the sake of begetting children. But you must wait for only a few seconds so that others may not reproach me. Please repeat. Even though it is not possible to repay you, I shall satisfy your sex desire immediately for the sake of begetting children. But you must wait for only a few seconds so that others may not reproach me. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The henpecked husband may not be able to repay his wife for all the benefits that he derives from her. But as long as for begetting children by fulfilling sexual desire, it is not at all difficult for any husband unless he is thoroughly impotent. This is very easy task for a husband under normal conditions. In spite of Kasyapa's being very eager, he requested her to wait for a few seconds so that others might not reproach him. He explains his position as follows. Oma Gyanatimidandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Meditam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Maum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paschatyadesh Panchakalpataruvhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyavacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. So the topic of this section of the Bhagavatam, or this sort of subsection, is kamam, desires. This word kamam, it's very significant in our application of the Krishna consciousness philosophy. It comes up quite often in the verses of the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada addresses this point. Not only Srila Prabhupada, but actually the Bhagavatam addresses this point of kaman as crucial. And in fact, although this is quite a, shall we say, philosophical analysis, also we can simplify the focus of this point, and we can say that this is the problem. This is the main problem, and we can even say that this is the only problem. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the first section, the first 6 chapters, Arjuna presents a number of questions, presents 7 questions mainly. And there he, a couple times, he asks something related to this point. The first question related to this topic of kaman, or desires, or sex desire, he presents it at the end of chapter 3, where he says to Krishna, Atha keno prajukto yam papam charati purusham. Why? Keno. Keno means why. Right? In Bengal also. Keno. In Hindi you say keno? No? Q. Similar. Right. K, keno, kotai, kamon. Everything with a K generally is indicative of question. So Arjuna asks, Atha keno prajukto jam papam charati purusham. Why do we sin? Why do we fall? Why do we fail in doing what we are meant to do? Anicham apivarsneya. Like, why is this? What is this force that drag us to do things that we don't want to do? Atakeno prajuktoyam papam charati purusham anicham apivarsneya balam eva. That something that is more powerful than me. That's what Arjuna is saying. I don't want to do it, but I'm dragged, almost like a superior force. Balam. So this is Arjuna's question. Why do we fall? Why do we fail? Why do we sin? Why we neglect doing what we are meant to do? I didn't want to do it, said the murderer. Right? But something impelled me to do it. So this is the problem. Kaman. Now, kaman or kama, it's translated different sections of the scriptures in slightly different ways. Sometimes it's translated as desire. Sometimes it's translated as lust, so very specific desire to enjoy the body and other bodies through sex. So Arjuna asked that question. Why? That's one question. The other question that he asks towards the end of the section, the first section, 6th chapter, he says, what happens if we fall? First, he asks, why do we fall? Right? And the other question that he asks is, what happens? I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to advance spiritually. I'm trying to transcend. But if I fall, what happens? Everything is in vain? What is the destination he has? Right? So these are two questions that we find in the first section of the Bhagavad Gita. In the last section of the Gita, in chapter 14, he asks again a very similar question. How do we transcend? Krishna is presenting the importance of understanding this world and how we need to function in this world. And then Arjuna asks, okay, so how can I get there? How can I do that? How can I be free from this imprisonment situation, condition that I'm in? Right? So those are the questions. And of course, the famous answer that Krishna gives, Kama esha, Krodha esha. It's lust only. Kama, Krodha, Rajaguna, Samudbhava. And they are born from the mode of passion. So that's Krishna's first answer. So, as you can see, there's a lot in this topic of kaman, or desire, or lust, to be more specific. And therefore Arjuna presents these important questions. This is the whole problem. This is the whole problem. And not only the Bhagavad Gita presents that, and not only Krishna addresses that, and he says it's because of this. This is the disease. This is the cancer. This is the tumor. Right? And he very methodically, he presents to Arjuna not only what's the problem, but how to solve it. Mam chayo vyabhicharena, he says in chapter 14, that if you surrender unto me, if you are engaged in my service through bhakti, then you can be free from this problem. It's like if you have some terrible disease, terminal disease, nobody can cure you, and then you go to some specialist somewhere around the world, and then you go and the person says, this is your problem and this is your solution. Wouldn't you be grateful? Finally somebody's telling me things as they are. That's why Prabhupada called the Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is not flowery words. This is how it is. You are sick and you're going to die and you're going to suffer. Not only once, but repeatedly, samsara. And this is the solution. Okay? In many ways, you can say this is a very simplified way to analyze or to understand things. So, in the Gita, we find this point, kama. And also, there's an interesting backpedaling a bit. After Krishna teaches the first set of lessons to Arjuna, Arjuna is lamenting at the end of chapter 1. And then he asks Krishna in the beginning of chapter 2, what is best for me? That's the first question. What is best for me? Right? And then Krishna says, you should not lament. Now you're distressed. Now you're suffering. But just like the winter and summer, they come and go. So now you're crying. Tomorrow you may be laughing. And it goes on like that. Have we experienced that? Toothache, it's terrible. End of your life, so miserable. Until the dentist comes and, does something. And then you go and play again, enjoy. And everything is fine. Everything is cool. So, Krishna is telling Arjuna a number of things in the second chapter of the Gita. And towards the end of that first presentation that Krishna does to Arjuna, he says, okay, can you tell me how does someone who has applied all this that you're saying looks like? How does he walk? How does he talk? What is his language? How does he sit? He asked these 4 questions, very specific. Can you show me? Have you seen those advertisement? I remember it in London. We're taking the, what do you call it, the tube? Something, yeah. And then you have, on the other side of the platform, there are these advertisements there, right? And then you have before and after. I forgot even what was the advertisement about. But this is a regular thing. I remember also arriving the Miami airport. After we left the airport, there was this big thing. I remember that one. And on one side, there was this guy, bald, and and on the other side of the poster, of the billboard, the guy had mustache and has full hair, before and after. So you just take something or put something and then, change. So before and after. So Arjuna is asking Krishna, how does it look, someone who's healthy? I have this problem, and I want to see how a healthy person looks like, how he talks, how he sits, how he walks. He really wants to see that person. And Krishna answers in a very, very interesting way. He says, the first words that come out from Krishna's lotus mouth, he says, Prajahati Jada Kaman. The same word. Kaman, the same word. Desire. That is the issue here. The person who's able to renounce, to give up, we may say purify, dovetail, spiritualize desires. That is the person that has been able to apply in his or her life the principles of transcendence. It's not the externals. It's not how big or how rich or how well dressed or all these external things. But it's someone in his or her heart is able to have a desire that has a spiritual aim or objective. That is the true transcendentalist. Not the, what is that saying? I know it in Spanish, but anyway, I don't know in English. You can have a monkey, and you can dress a monkey in ways, right? Sometimes you see that. I remember when I was little, there was a series. I don't know if it was here in Australia. Lancelot Link. It was a monkey that was dressed as a spy, right? And then he has his girlfriend, and he even had a band, and the monkeys were, real monkeys, right? And they were playing guitar and playing the drums, and I couldn't miss that program. Every Saturday morning, I was first there, in front of the telly, black and white, watching Lancelot Link, and they had songs and the whole thing, they'll sit them. There was a film. Eventually, I learned that a film in Hollywood, and they will sit them in Rolls Royce, right? And they will make like they were driving the whole thing, So you can dress a monkey in whatever, garments and customs, but it remains a monkey. That's what it is. So it's not external; it's an internal thing. That's what Krishna is pointing out to Arjuna. The desire. That's what it is. Now, later on in chapter 3, as I mentioned, he refers to the issue of sex desire, lust, and the warnings that Krishna gives at the end of the first chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, 3, and 4. He gives warnings. In chapter 2, he warns us about what it's false. All right? Generally, when we buy something, we make sure that it's the right thing. It's authentic. Right? I remembered in Bangkok many years back, as a brahmacharya, I was sent by my Guru Maharaj there to help with the temple, and I remember we were going on Harinam, and I was with another American devotee and a few South Americans. Anyway, obviously we were foreigners. And when we were going through the markets doing Harinam, distributing books, these people, hustlers, they were coming with Rolex watch. I remember. And, it's like, Rolex, want to buy Rolex? And they looked exactly the same thing. I never had a Rolex, but I've seen Rolex, real Rolex. And then, and they're very cheap, $20. Okay, $10. Like this guy wanted to sell Rolex watch to all the brahmachari team, all the Harinam party. Of course, they were fake, no? But I remember the feeling, right? Getting a Rolex and thinking, oh, only $10, right? So sometimes these fake things are appealing, although we know it's not the real thing. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2, at the end of it, he warns us about the fake things that this material world offers. And one of them is false sense gratification, right? You know that feeling when you take your pizza and your cold drink and the ice cream, right? Or whatever your favorite food is. It's like, oh my God, this is divine. Huh? It's paradise. Right? It's like, oh, my life is completed. Huh? So tasty. Right? So Krishna warns us, false sense gratification. Then he gives another warning, false sense of proprietorship, starting with the body. We're thinking, this is me, and this is mine. It's my hand, it's my food, it's my head, it's my body. But what happens at the time of death? Right? What happens then? Everything is taken. So the Bhagavatam elaborates on this point. So that's the second warning that Krishna gives us in chapter 2. And then finally, false ego. We're thinking, right? What does it say in the passport or in your driver's license? This is me, right? Born somewhere, son of whatever, depends on different passports, has different details. This is me, the false me, right? It says date of birth, it doesn't say date of death. But the time will come, and that passport becomes useless because you cannot identify it anymore. So what's your true identity? Yeah. So all those things Krishna is warning us. But in chapter 3, he gives us the main warning: lust. Be careful with this lust. And he describes for a number of verses about this enemy, and Prabhupada called Mr. Lust. Like you give a name like that. I remember when computer games came out, and then my kids were crazy wanting to get the computer games, and they came in CDs or something like that, and then they sneak into my room and they put it in the computer, and then I come in and I see them, playing different monsters, different creatures and fighters and warriors, and and I was just watching them, and it's like a faith thing, right? And Prabhupada, in the same way, he identified this desire to enjoy materially as Mr. Lust. So you can imagine a monster there, Mr. Lust, coming to get you, right? So Krishna warns us about this, and we have to be very mindful that we are thinking that, oh, I have this desire, and I want to go here, and I want to go there, and I want to do this, I want to do that. But that same desire is the reason why we are in this prison house. And we all are sentenced. And what are those sentences? Old age. Do you want to get old? You want to get old? No. Good on you. You want to die? No. That means you're healthy mentally. Right? You want to get sick? Who wants to get sick? Right? But we do, or the body does. And we identify with the body. I am sick, you say. I am dying. You're not dying. You're not sick. I am all now, right? After you cross the 50 mark, right? That's like a mantra that's there. Huh? I'm all now. Huh? But you're not all. When they asked Prabhupada, once he arrived, I forgot in which airport, how old are you? Someone asked. And Prabhupada said, same as you. Another occasion, they asked him, how old are you? And Prabhupada said, I'm not old. I'm young. Navajovanam. It's a quality of the living entity. Always youthful. Right? Don't you feel sometimes like that? I mean, those who are a little older, wiser, and you feel like a young person. I still want to run. I still want to play. I still want to have fun and, do the things that I used to do when I was a kid, a youngster. Why? Because that's the original characteristic of the soul. Nava Jovanam. Eternally youthful. Because we come from Krishna. So, like father, like son or daughter. Huh? So, but the point is that Krishna is warning us. Come on, this is the enemy. And then he goes on to describe where is the enemy located. Huh? In chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives us a very clear description of, where are we? Here. 9:2. Okay. Clear description of where the enemy is located. Some of you may be fans of war and history and that sort of thing. When we were little, we used to play, right? Soldiers, and then there's the enemies and like different games we play, right? And then the enemies are there, especially the boys. And then you get your fake gun, and then you have your grenade, and you catch them and do things like that. So Prabhupada explains, the enemy's location, it's now identified. Indriyani manobudhir, Krishna says. The lust, Mr. Lust, remember? Monster coming to get us. It's located in our senses, in our mind, and in our intelligence. Right? That's the location. So we have to aim at it and target and shoot, destroy it. Krishna says, towards the end of chapter 3, destroy this enemy of self-realization that burns like fire and it's never satisfied. Imagine. So it doesn't matter how much you do, it's always there. Fire never goes. Like bushfires here in Australia, they're, infamously known. Very destructive, right? And I don't know if every state, but we know in Western Australia, we heard here in New South Wales, in Victoria, once they come, practically no one is safe unless you run fast enough. Yeah? And if you can, like certain animals, then you'll be caught. Samsaradhava nalalida lok. So, this is the warning that Krishna is giving us. This is the problem in Bhagavad Gita. Now, Krishna is very, very clever, and he's a magnificent teacher. He's an incredible teacher, and he has his way of teaching things. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's very summarized. It's the ABC. How many chapters Bhagavad Gita? You read Bhagavad Gita? There it is. You have to buy one. Oh, you have? Okay. You can have another one and give it to somebody. Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. Okay? Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. So in 18 chapters, only 700 verses. There's not much time or room to explain too many things. There's no time to give examples. A few examples are given. No stories, per se. Just a couple of mentioning of some people here and there. King Janaka and other like that. But there's no time. Very concise. Small book, 18 chapters only. But in the Bhagavatam, how many verses the Bhagavatam has? 18,000. 18,000. Just the first canto. How many chapters the first canto? 19 chapters. Just the first canto, it's bigger than the Bhagavad Gita. So, in the Bhagavatam, Krishna has arranged for all the examples, right? For all the situations in which the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita can be exemplified. So Krishna is talking about lust in chapter 3. In other chapters also he mentions that. So where are the examples? Right? Arjuna is asking for examples. So the examples are given here in the Bhagavatam. And there are several examples of people who got swayed or fell prey of lust. Many examples. So this is one example, right? Deity is being dragged by this force. And interestingly here, Kasyapa is saying, just wait for a few seconds. Huh? Have you seen animals in heat? Right? I remember I used to have Dobermans. And boy, those animals will become like monsters if the she-dog was in heat. And we had to tie them, and we had pedigree Dobermans, and they were huge. I had to tie them and close the doors and everything because they're just desperate to go for the she-dog. So, and Kasyapa is telling, just wait for a few seconds because of this moment is very inauspicious. And this is what the Vedas do. The Vedas tell you what to do, when, and when not to do it. Do's and don'ts. This is the right time. The Brahmins, the Pandits, the Gurus, the sages, the Rishis, or the superiors, father, mother, teacher, devatas, kings, etc. They have the duty to instruct those who are dependent on them. Don't do this, do that, do it now, do it later, like that. So that's Vedic system. So here, this particular verse is representative of that intensity when we desire something. And like the song says, I want it all and I want it now. Right? An old song says like that. I want it all and I want it now. So in the Bhagavad Gita also in chapter 16, divine and demoniac nature, one of the characteristics of the demons, right? Demoniac person. And this is not people with fangs and tails and horns and things like that. These are people who cannot control their senses, right? And we may think, oh, this is something very ancient. But I invite you to, maybe you don't, but take it from me, to explore a little the level of crime that it's going on right now. There's some feed that comes in my YouTube. Maybe I was watching some documentary or something, crime stories or something like that. And by some reason, I don't know, as I said, maybe I watched something and then now it's feeding me, suggesting this. Children killing their parents. Children killing their parents, So horrible, demoniac. The way that they are killed, the way that they are sometimes chopped up and things like that, and demoniac. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains something. He says something about demoniac people. He says, pravritincha nivritincha. They don't know what to do, and they don't know what not to do. And how do you know what to do and what not to do? You read the manual. You read the manual. Or if you don't want to read the manual, right, then you ask somebody who knows. Right? How do you operate this thing? Oh, yes, I know. Then comes and teaches you. Like that. So we need to learn how to manage this desire. That is the point. Not only in the Bhagavad Gita we find these teachings, also in the Bhagavatam. At the very beginning of the Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami, the first, shall we say, speaker that comes into a scene, he explains that the purpose of desire. What is the purpose of desire? Don't be too philosophical. What is the purpose of desire? Anyone? To make Krishna happy? That's quite advanced. Yes, yes. The least we should do, that Bhagavatam says, just live a simple life. Simple living, high thinking. Simple living, high thinking. Meaning that you just get what you need. You need some food, you need some clothes, you need something like that. But mainly the Bhagavatam says that human life, because in human life we have the cognitive capacity to understand who we are, where do we come from, and where are we going. Nobody knows what's going to happen at the time of death. Do you know where you're going? Do we know? Do we have a ticket and says destination? We don't. You know that, but at the time of death, how do we go back? Huh? So this is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita tells us this is where you are meant to go. This is where you come from, your original home. Back home, back to Godhead. But there is a problem. And what is the problem? We said, what is the main problem and what is the only problem? We just said in the beginning, if you remember, I don't know, 40 minutes ago, whatever it was. Karma. The problem is desire. The problem is that we love this place too much. And we're thinking, someday, somehow, somewhere, with someone, I will be happy. And that is the problem. And until we keep that little warm, Bhakti, Siddhanta Saraswati used to say, it's like a warm, you know, have you had that experience? I remember when little, my mom would bring certain fruits, and then she would say, no, wait till you wash them and all that, and I'll get something and run, and sometimes you buy them, and then you find a little worm there. And that's it. Spoils the whole thing. Right? So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati gives that example. That life is such a great asset, human life. But we spoil it because we don't want to do things right. We don't want to do things at the proper time, in the proper way. We don't want to hear Shastra. Oh, this is for boring people. Huh? Prabhupada says in the introduction of one of his small books, forgotten which one now, I think Easy Journey to Other Planets or one of those. He says, people think that religion or spirituality is for fools and old. For fools and the old. When I'm old, I'm going to take some, religious books and I'll pass the time because I can't do much, right? Or fools, you don't have any, you don't have it, not much to do. You don't know how to enjoy. You don't know how to go and dance and go crazy, stupid, and enjoy life, and take a selfie there, and and put it all over, or at least as much as you can, and then everyone likes it. Oh yes, you're my hero, right? Fools, right? Prahlad Maharaj says, these fools and rascals in every city that we are thinking, I'm gonna enjoy life. Life is to enjoy. Yes, it's true, but not in the way that material nature presents to you. Not in that way. Yes, life is to enjoy spiritually. And how do you enjoy it spiritually? By pleasing Krishna. Why? Why is it? We often say this. Why is it that, as you say, life and life desires are to please Krishna? Why? Why do we say that? You don't want to? Yeah. That's a desire. That's a desire. That's good. It's good. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Krishna is present himself in the Bhagavad Gita as Kamaduk. Kamaduk means the provider. Right? Kamaduk means the provider. It's like you have a tree and then you go and get the apple or the whatever, avocado or mango, whatever it is. So the tree is the provider. So in the same way, it is presented, it is explained that Krishna is Kamaduk. So he can fulfill all desires. Right? Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Everything comes from me. Right? If you want to get some money, if you want to buy a house and you don't have the money to buy it, where do you go? You go to the bank. Why? Because he has money. At least he has more money than you. Right? Is it? If you're sick, you don't have health, where do you go? You go to the doctor. Why? Yeah, because he has something that can cure you. And he has the knowledge. And he will tell you, take this 2-3 times a day, whatever it is. So he can cure you. So, kama, desire, lust, specifically sex desire, is something that it may be, as described in the scriptures, enjoyable, just like a heavenly pleasure, right? It's the shackle that keeps us here. Have you heard the story of the monkey, the way that the monkeys are caught? In Malaysia, in India, in South America. It's very interesting. I have seen it, actually. I have seen it in Malaysia. I saw it, and I don't know if I saw it somewhere else in India, perhaps, I don't know. But I remember in Malaysia very clearly. You see, the hunters, they want to catch the monkey for whatever reasons, right? They train them or do whatever. So monkeys are very difficult to catch. So what they do is they get a dry coconut, right? And the dry coconut, inside, they put a banana, right? So what happens? And then they leave a little hole in there, just enough for the hand of the monkey to go in. So the banana is there, and the coconut is heavy, right? So the monkey puts the hand through the hole, grabs the banana, and it's caught. He won't let go. And I have seen it. And they put these big coconuts, all dry coconut, like, and the thing is shouting, ah, ah, and it's, trying to run, but cannot because the coconut is very heavy. And the hunters, they come in with a net to catch them. They're fast. I mean, this is in a slow motion I'm describing. And the monkey is wanting to escape, but he won't let go. Right? And then get caught. Yeah, true. So, what is that we need to learn is that we need to let go. Sooner or later, maybe now we know it theoretically, but sooner or later, and better happens before the time of death. Because if the time of death, death is coming to catch us, and we said, but I just want just one more thing, one more desire that I haven't fulfilled. Then we get caught. And then, happy birthday to you. Right? Yeah, that's also, yeah. And where are the pets? In cages. They are caught. Yeah, exactly. So that is the message of the Bhagavad Gita. Be careful with kama, desire, lust. And this is the example. And there are many examples. Yesterday, what's the other example that we find? Ajamil, right? A Brahmin. And then he saw a prostitute kissing with someone in the street. And then he got caught. Oh, I want to enjoy. Because it's not that the desire is going to come to you. The desire is within you. And when we get agitated, when we see things, we go for it. Right? That's why the screen and the, what do you call that? Window shopping. That's why the mannequins are there and all these posters of beautiful people, right? Just to attract you. Come, buy me, buy me, buy me. Be happy. If you buy this, you will be happier for some time, right? So the Bhagavatam presents something different. It says, be happy forever. Be happy eternally. Not through the body, but through the soul, through the spirit soul. And that's why we worship Krishna. Why? Because Krishna is transcendental. And it happens that we are parts and parcels of Krishna. So when Krishna's senses are satisfied, he's called Rishikesh. We feel satisfied. Right? You were giving the example of the mouth, right? That just like the mouth, and you have the food there, right? Not the banana of the monkey. You have some food there, and they imagine the hand. And there was a philosopher that brought that analogy too? I forgot now. Yeah, the strike. What was it? Is it the Greeks or something? Is a fable or something like that? Imagine the hand says, "Why should I bring the food to the mouth? What is this mouth doing there? Just up there, and we are the ones who are doing the work. So let me eat it by myself. Let me just, and try to squeeze it and, right? But no, the system is that you have to put the food in your mouth. And the mouth, because of the arrangement, fulfills everything. Fulfills the hand, fulfills the legs, fulfills the toes, the head, top of your head, everything. So in the same way, just like also another example is the root of a tree. You can say, oh, this tree needs watering, so I need to climb up all the way to put some water in the leaf. No, just put it in the root. Because we come from Krishna, the Supreme Person, the Absolute Truth. Then when you put water in the root, then all the leaves, all the twigs, all the branches are fulfilled. So, Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Ambarish Maharaj, a great king, who utilized everything, every part of his body, and it's described here twice. He quotes that verse from 9th canto in the Bhagavad Gita. And he says, we end with this, Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayo. The mind is used for what? What do you use the mind for? To think. Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayo. To think of the activities of the Lord. You think of Krishna. That's the message, the last message of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayo Bachansi. What do you do with your words? Right? You glorify something. You say things, right? So talk about Krishna. Bachansi Vaikunta Gunanuvaran. Karo Harer Mandira Marjana Disho. What do you do with your hands? You build things, right? One of the things that is recommended, that you clean the temple of the Lord. Karo Harer Mandira. Marjana Disho. Shrutim, what do you do with your ear? Listen about Krishna. You got it. Listen about Krishna. Darshana, Mukunda Lingala, the Darshana Drisha. You come to see Krishna. What do you do with your eyes? You watch telly, you watch movies, you watch this, you watch that. Come to see Krishna. Mukunda Lingala, Darshana Drisha. Right? With a sense of touch. You're, enjoying yourself or trying to make someone else enjoy. So with that same senses, you can massage the body of the Lord or help the devotees. Do something practical. Serve prasadam. Right? What do you do with your nostril, your power of smell? Smell the flowers. That's why every day you will find flowers there. So you can smell and purify. What do you do with your tongue? You taste. So you taste prasadam. You will see the clapping. You'll hear the clapping in a few minutes. Right? So everything that we have at our disposal, we can use for Krishna. And finally, this is how the verse ends. 3 verses. Kamam chadasye natu kama kamya. Let my desires, we're talking about kama. Let my desires be servants of your desire. Let my desires, I have desires. The soul will always have desires. But let my desires be servants or servants of your desires. You want to save the world. You want to eat. You want to, whatever you want to do. Just like a waiter or a waitress. What would you like, sir? What would you like, madam? Right? And then you just run and bring it. Okay, so we stop here. Any questions or any points in regards of this? No questions. You learned the lesson. So the topic is kama, desire, sex desire, be warned, and how can we solve this problem? Just come to Krishna, do some service, and the most important medicine is chant Hare Krishna. If we chant Hare Krishna, then everything will go in time. And then you honor prasadam, be happy, Haribol. Question? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. His brothers, you mean? With 6? There were 6? All right. I mean, many of these killings have some hidden story behind. Just like the demons in Vrindavan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, each one represents some anartha. So many of these stories, just like the one that we are reading with Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, has a background story behind the scenes. And Krishna wants to make the point that, for example, in the case of Kamsa, he was very envious and jealous of Krishna, right? And therefore, because of that, he get blinded, and the more he follows his desire, the more mistakes he commits. Just like Shishupal, he was insulting Krishna, and Krishna was saying, I will forgive you 100 times. But 100 only, and then they keep counting, and you are a rascal, and you're a thief, and you're a this and that, and 99, 100. So one time, Srila Prabhupada was in Mayapur, and one devotee entered. His name is Satadanya. And Satadanya means that it's eternally merciful. And then Prabhupada said, Satadanya, eternally merciful. And then the devotee said, eternally? Like, really? And then Prabhupada said, yes, but don't take advantage. So he's eternally merciful, and that's why we're here, but don't take advantage. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gantharat Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo.